We sat at our cabin's table for supper. Everyone near us kept glancing curiously at Adele and me. Clearly, news travels fast.
You still didn't tell me what happened on the ropes course,
Amber whispered. Yeah, you'd probably freak if I did. I winced as I spotted two girls staring and whispering.
Hey, some maniac tried to drop me 100 feet. You were barely off the ground.
Amber whispered back. Shh, people are staring, Adele hissed. Do you want to expose us and all of WSA in this? I stared at the baked beans I'd been pushing around on my plate. The rest of supper passed quietly. We refused to look at anyone, just focused on eating. We finished, left the dining hall, and regrouping near the clubhouse, we discussed our plans. Once the sun went down, the evening games would start. It would be the perfect time for the shadow to move in unnoticed. Even though he said he wouldn't kill, that didn't mean he wouldn't hurt anyone. Tonight's game was sort of battle between the red and blue teams. Any kind of wound could be issued. The crazy night outfits had all been discarded, and everyone was dressing in dark-colored clothes. Several girls in our cabin had spent almost half an hour, probably more, doing goth-like makeup. Dark eyeshadow and eyeliner. We even had black lipstick. I mean, who even has that? They offered to do our makeup, but we declined. Amber did borrow the lipstick and did a pretty amazing camo pattern on her face.
Tie my hair back strictly. I don't want it sticking to my face.
Amber knelt on the floor in front of me while I rebraided her hair. Adele was lacing up a pair of lightweight boots. We all had matching outfits. Adele had used some of my instant hair dye to hide her bright hair. The other girls had left several minutes ago to find the group of boys they were always hanging out with. We could partly discuss our plans, but we were still cautious. If the shadow knew we were here, he could probably have bugged the cabin when we weren't home. I pulled Amber's hair as gently as I could and put it into a secure braid. Amber winced. Sorry, I didn't mean...
No, it wasn't you. My arm is burning.
Amber quickly interrupted me.
I think the poison is starting to take effect.
She bent her black-clad arm. Under the tight material of her shirt, a thick white bandage was wrapped around her arm. We had checked as we removed our crazy outfits. Several veins around the wound were showing through her skin, turning a greenish color. Amber had pulled a pair of fingerless gloves onto her hands and wrapped her utility belt around her waist. There wasn't anything obviously different about it than any other belt, but it had several secret compartments hidden in it. I tightened the laces on my boots and stood. Ready? I asked.
As I'll ever be.
Amber grimaced. Adele nodded. We exited the cabin just as the bell rang to signal the gathering for the game. Teens swarmed in from every part of the camp towards the sports field. We passed the girls from our cabin. They paused to take in our outfits. Several turned up their noses at our look, but one of them gave us a quick thumbs up. They all wore tight black tank tops and shorts. For some reason, they also wore black heels. They weren't crazy high, like 5 inches, but any heels would be bad for this kind of game. Their skin also fairly glowed in the faint light. We slowed to let them pass ahead of us.
What do they think we're playing?
Amber pressed a hand against her mouth to suppress a giggle. Who says they're planning on playing our game? They've got a game of their own, Adele muttered, watching one of the girls fake a trip and fall into one of the guy's arms.
Ah, I see now.
Amber followed the direction of Adele's eyes.
We should keep an eye on them.
You think? I snorted. But we've got to watch everyone else, too. We should definitely split up, cover more ground. One of us is sure to find the shadow. But it's going to be hard with everyone in black, so the shadow could just sneak into the game with us. Amber glanced around at all the shadowy people moving through the trees.
Yes, keep your eyes open.
She turned and sprinted off to one side of the field. Adele ran the other way. I continued in the direction I was currently going. Once all the kids were on the field, the athletic director started yelling instructions through a megaphone. Turns out we're playing a large version of Capture the Flag. It was red versus blue. The camp was split into 2 parts. Every part was fair play. The only rules were no going into the lake or any buildings, and this was directed toward the older boys. No tackling. Touch only. I moved slowly through the crowd, half listening to the directions. I tried to match each form against the blurry one I had in my mind. I wish I knew more facts about height, weight, gender, etc. It'd make this job so much easier. I saw Amber out of the corner of my eye, also walking through the crowd. She held her arm carefully against her side so it wouldn't get jostled by the pressing crowd. 32 hours. I mentally counted down until the poison killed her. My guess is that after 24 hours, the poison would be coursing through her entire body. Once that happened, it would be up to me and Adele to capture the shadow. I'm not going to let her do anything. It'd be even worse if one of her headaches hit anytime soon. I shook my head. I was falling into mom mode again. I need to focus. I pushed through the crowd. Kids were pushing in every direction, trying to find a good place to start the game. Adele was suddenly at my elbow. We need to blend in. Pretend to be a regular camper playing the game. The shadow already knows we're looking for him, so we need to stop looking and start watching. While we play the game, just constantly be looking. Run, tag, capture that flag, do whatever you need to do to blend in with all those kids. Adele hissed. I nodded. We quickly separated and ran to find a start point. Adele's boots disappeared up the thick trunk of a pine tree. I couldn't see Amber anywhere, but that was typical. I tiptoed as close to the line as I could and hid in some bushes. Dark forms ran this way and that. They hustled to find a perfect spot before the bell rang. I stared at each form, my mind wondering if each one was the shadow. A stick cracked somewhere in the trees. I jumped. Calm down. You're just an average teen playing a normal teen game. No need to be freaked out by other people. Even as I mentally assured myself, I felt the chilling feeling of someone watching me. The bell rang, a deep hollow sound echoing through the trees. More leaves rustling ensued. Kids from each team were dashing around, trying to locate the flag and win the game. There wasn't much activity near me. All the activity was around the tree line. I rose and crept carefully across the very center of the field. I moved slowly, following the weird patterns in the shadows cast by the cloud-covered moon. A giddy shriek sent goosebumps up and down my arms. I crept silently along, not in any hurry. Better to remain unnoticed than hurry and be noticed. I was sure that nobody would be able to reach the flag before one of us. A stick cracked nearby. I slowly turned and gazed in that direction. A figure stumbled against a tree. I peered closer. I could barely see the person. If not for the snapped stick, I wouldn't have noticed her. I slipped over to her. Amber clutched her head and groaned. Is it one of your headaches? I asked. She nodded. Do you have any aspirin? She shook her head.
The nurse has them all.
Drat, I muttered. Well, why don't you go get one? Adele and I can handle this game and the kids.
Okay.
Amber mumbled and stumbled off in the direction of the nurse's office. I watched her go and then turned back to the game. I could see the glow stick sewn into the flag. It would be easy to go and grab it. The sooner we finished the game, the sooner we could corral the kids again. I slowly moved toward the blue glow hidden among the trees. Nobody was in sight. Most teens aren't good at being still for long, so I was sure that nobody was there. Still, I moved cautiously. Something seemed off. I shimmied up the tree until I was above the flag. Attached to the string was a flag. Attached to the flag was a string that was so fine you couldn't see it unless you were just at the right angle. I carefully traced the string with my fingers, trying not to put any pressure on it. Nestled precariously in some tiny branches was a large rock. If anyone tugged on the flag, the rock would come tumbling down and hit them. I reached into my belt and pulled a small pair of scissors out to snip the string. I carefully snipped it without moving the rock. Then I slid down the tree with the flag.
You guys take the fun out of everything.
A silky voice hit out of the darkness. Who are you? I called, spinning, scanning the darkness.
That would make it too easy.
The voice hinted at a grin.
31 hours. Use it wisely.
I ran in the direction of the voice.
Just missed me.
The voice egged.
You're going the wrong direction.
No, I'm not, I called back.
What are you?
The question was lost in the shouts of surprised teenagers. Several teens with blue glow sticks on their ankles reached out for me, trying to tag and get the flag back. Kids with red glow sticks cheered and ran to prevent the blue kids from tagging me. I ran toward the line. Once across it, the game would be won. I ran faster. Ahead of me were several blue lights. They spread out, trying to prevent my crossing. Audrey! Adele shouted from the side. As I ran, I scooped up the stick and wrapped a flag around it. I threw the stick as hard as I could to Adele. The stick arched above the heads of the blue players, causing them to gawk at it. I couldn't stop my momentum, crashing into them. The red players cheered as Adele expertly caught the stick on the red side, winning the game.